Hi creative friends, this is Soraya and thank you so much for being here. Today I'm going to do a tutorial on an easy way to draw a face. A lot of times we can be super intimidated when it comes to drawing faces and figures, but I promise you this is a very simplified way of how you can master drawing faces. Now the first thing is I'm going to recommend that you get a cheap lined composition notebook and you can pick one up anywhere for around $1. There are two reasons for using this type of book. The first reason is we're going to use these lines to help us with our measurements. The second reason is it's super cheap, so we aren't going to be intimidated if we mess up because we've got a ton of pages to work with. Now, I recommend that for the first part, you start off using an HB pencil because if you use a lighter colored pencil, you can erase the marks that you make that you're not happy with. So I am going to use my Stabilo pencil so that the camera can pick up on my lines. Now, the very first thing I want to do is to figure out where I want to place my face. And I think I wanted to go like about there. So I'm just gonna mark that off. And now what I would like you to do is to measure out an even number of spaces. So not the lines, but the spaces in between the lines. And I'm gonna go with 12 spaces, and that's what I recommend that you do as well. So I'm gonna count out 12 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And at the bottom line of that 12th space, I'm gonna put a mark. So this is going to be my face. And just to reiterate what I did, from the top mark to the bottom mark, they are going to be 12 spaces. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to draw an oval shape. I am not thinking that I'm drawing a face. I'm simply making an oval and it doesn't have to be perfect. So all I'm going to do is place my pencil on this line over here, this mark, and I am going to make a curve and I'm searching for the lines that I want to use for my face. And what I mean by that is, I'll explain it to you in a second here. So hopefully you'll be using your HB pencil and you can make as many lines as you want. You can make like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever lines you want because you're searching for the lines that you're wanting. You're searching for the lines that you need to make your face. I can tell you right now that I am not happy with the width of my oval, so I am going to make another mark right there and maybe even another mark right there, because I'm searching for the lines that I want to use. And that's why it's so important to use a lighter colored pencil for this first part. Because then you can erase the lines you don't want. Okay, so I'm happy with that oval now. And I'm not thinking like, oh, it's so messy and none of that stuff. So I am going to draw a rectangle over here, and this is going to eventually turn into my neck. But for right now, we're just making a basic rectangle. So the only measurement we need to focus on is this right here, half. We're going to cut everything in half. So the very first thing I want to do is I want to cut this oval on its vertical axis in half. So you can use a ruler. I'm just going to eyeball it. And all I'm doing is drawing a line down here. So I have split this oval in half on its vertical axis. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to split this oval in half on its horizontal axis. And because I picked 12 spaces, I know that half of it is going to be 6 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm just going to make a mark right there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the bottom part of this oval and I'm going to split it again in half. So that's going to be 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, again, the bottom part of this oval right here, and I'm going to split it in half. So that's going to be 1.5. So it's going to be right around there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this mark, and I'm going to find my halfway point, which should be around there. Now, you can use a ruler for these measurements. I'm not going to, but I am going to just reiterate what I did. So using this half measurement, first I split my oval on the vertical axis in half. That's right there. Then I split it on its horizontal axis in half, and that is right there. Then I split this bottom part in half, and that's right there. Then I split again this bottom part in half, and that is right there. And then I split the space between this line and this line in half, and that is right here. So I hope the camera is picking up my lines. So now what we're going to do is I am going to make a line like so. It's not going to be a straight line like as if I was using a ruler. There is going to be a slight curve to it, like so. And the reason why there's going to be a slight curve to it is because a face in reality is a three-dimensional object. And so when you know your eyes sit in your face, it's going to be on a sphere in a three-dimensional object. But when we're drawing something, it's a two-dimensional. We're working in 2 dimensions. So when I put the eyes over here, it's not going to sit exactly straight on a straight line. There's going to be a slight curve to it. So I hope I've made sense. And if I'm not clear enough, if you want to leave a comment or ask a question or a concern or any of those things, please feel free to do that in the description below. So now we're going to put the eyes over here. Now, beginners generally tend to think that the eyes go higher up in the head than they actually do. And I know when I first started drawing, I felt the same way. Like it felt really, really weird to put the eyes like halfway down the face. But that is in fact where eyes do go. And if you can, you know, go through a magazine or look at photographs or even look at yourself in the mirror and do actual measurements, that is really where the eyes do go on the face. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of make some curves over here. And again, I'm searching for my lines. So I'm just searching for my lines here. And the space in between the 2 eyes should be the length of 1 eye. So I'm going to measure this over here, one of my eyes, and I'm going to see, okay, so this eye is a little smaller than it should be, so I'm going to extend that. So this is what I mean by I'm searching for my lines. Okay, so now let me do the measurements again and measure that with my pencil. Yeah, so that's about right. Now, the space from the edge of the eye to the end of the face right here should be a half a length of the eye. So I'm going to measure what a half a length is. And that is about right. I think I need to extend this a little bit more. See, normally, like if I was drawing this and I was not making a video, I would be using an HB pencil. And then if I'm happy with the placement of where everything is right now, I would go in and I would like erase the marks that I'm not going to use, but I can't do that with my Stabilo pencil. But if you're happy with the configuration of where things are right now, then you can go ahead and erase like these other marks here that you're not going to use. But these are the marks I'm going to use, okay? So I'm not going to do any erasing. So now what we're going to do is we're going to place the iris of the eye. And the top part of the iris is going to touch this curve that I've made. So that's where the iris is going to go. So when I made that curve over there, the top part of the iris is going to touch that line of the curve. Now I'm going to show you a little trick with drawing eyes. And let me see if I can use a pencil over here. So as beginners, we tend to draw the eye like so, generally speaking, like this. And, you know, the iris is a circle. It really is in reality. However, when you're looking at somebody head on, the iris is sitting like into the eye socket, and the eyelid is covering up the top part of the iris. So as beginners, we tend to draw the eye like so, but if you, instead of putting the curve over here, if we put the curve like this and just cut off that small top part of the iris over there, it really changes the way the eye looks, and you can make a more realistic eye. It's just a simple trick that anyone can do. So do you see how that really, and I'm going to erase that part over there. So do you see how that really changed the way the eye looks? And it makes it a lot more realistic looking. So that's a simple thing we can do. So now I'm going to go back to drawing my eye over here, and following what I just said, I am going to cut the iris, the top part of the iris over there. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to focus on the nose. Now the nose is going to be placed over here. So this line over here, which is the midway point between this line and the bottom, is where the nose is going to go. Now, obviously there are going to be differences in facial features depending on things like age, gender, race, etc. But these are just the general proportions for a face. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to turn this line into a slight curve like so. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to kind of draw some nostrils here. And I'm not going to get too fussy with the facial features, and I will probably make another video on facial features. And this bottom part over here now is going to become the bottom part of the lips. So I'm going to make a slight curve like so. And over here, I am going to make an inverted triangle that is open-ended, and simply just sketch out the lips. And you've got a lot of leeway in the facial features you're going to make. So there are some basic rules, I guess, when you're drawing the face. The edge of the nostril should line up with the end of the inner eye right here. So if you bring this line down, it should come here, and the edge of the nostril should be there. And the edge of the lip over here, the lip line, should line up with your iris right there, with the edge of the iris. But I don't usually follow that because I want my facial features, like usually I make my eyes much larger because I'm drawing a stylized face. So you have leeway with, you know, the facial features, how you want to make them, etc. So now I'm going to focus on the eyes here. And I'm not going to get too detailed for the purposes of this video, because like I said, I'll make another video on the facial features. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to kind of solidify the face a little bit here, and I'm just going to darken my marks here. And I'm just going to make some, so I'm going to follow this line here and then curve it out. So I just want to point out that when you're holding your pencil, if you're going to hold your pencil right towards the end over here, it's going to give you a lot of control over your marks, your lines, and your pencil. Now, if you hold it up here, you're going to get more fluidity. You're going to get more just emotive marks, more accidents, more, happy little adventures that can happen. And what I generally tend to do is when I'm doing the eyes and some of the facial features, I tend to hold my pencil more here because I want tighter control. But when I draw the hairline and the hair and maybe the neck and, other areas, I tend to kind of hold my pencil here because I want more fluidity. So now I'm going to draw the hair, and, the hairline is going to vary depending on each person. I mean, different people have different hairlines. So this is going to be kind of up to you. And I think what I'm going to do is just kind of go like so, and I just want like a fluid kind of a feel to it. So now I'm going to place the ears. The top part of the ears are going to line up with your eyes, and the bottom part of your ears should line up with the bottom part of your lip. But obviously there's going to be differences in, different people have different size ears, etc. So I tend to make my ears a little bit smaller. But, you can use your discretion. And I'm just going to kind of go like that. Now we've got to give her some eyebrows because she needs them. And I just want to kind of make sure they're on a similar line here. So a little while ago, I made a video on adding symbol figures to your page, and I'll put a link in the description below. If you haven't watched that video, I really recommend that you do, because I'm going to make another video where I combine what I talked about in that video, which is adding symbol figures to your page, and then I'm going to combine that with drawing faces. So then we'll do like adding symbol figures and faces to your page. Now, I just want to show you here, this is a finished piece of mine. And of course, there's a lot of paint and collage and, all sorts of stuff that are on top of this. But these are the bones and the foundation of your face. And then no matter how you turn it into after, like there's a million ways you can transform it. But this painting right here, I use the exact same method that I'm using here because, these are the bones and this is the meat. All the painting and all the other stuff you're going to put on top of it. But this is a basic structure. So once you fill up your composition book with drawings, I promise you that you will become more confident in drawing the face, and then you will be able to draw on a blank page without the use of these lines. Now, I'm just going to add some lines over here, and I'm going to use my pencil on its end a little bit. And we're going to give her some earrings. Why not? Give her a bindi. Why not? And kind of make a little decorative little collar for her. So I hope that this video has been helpful to you, and thank you so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.